A wild horse was finally freed from its chains, but when the gate opened, it didn't run. And when the man understood why, he broke down in tears. In the vast, windswept plains of Wyoming lived Evan, a retired soldier. The echoes of war never left him, stealing his sleep and silencing his laughter. His world was quiet, his heart heavy, and his days were spent in solitude, haunted by memories he couldn't escape. He was a man adrift in a sea of silence. One cold morning, a sight stopped him in his tracks. An injured wild Mustang, tied to a fence post. It was a heartbreaking image. The horse was thin, its coat matted and bruised, and its entire body trembled with fear and pain. Evan's heart, a fortress he had built around himself for years, felt a crack. He decided to help. He named her Astra, a name that meant star, hoping she could one day shine again. He brought her back to his small ranch, placing her in a secure pen where she could rest. He tried to feed her the sweetest hay and the crispest apples. She wouldn't eat. She just stood there, head bowed, refusing any offering. He tried to speak to her in soft, gentle tones, to pet her matted mane. She flinched away, her eyes fixed on the dusty ground. A prisoner not just of the fence, but of her own terror. Days turned into nights, and Astra remained a statue of fear, a mirror of the brokenness Evan felt inside. Evan watched her, and in her deep, vacant eyes, he saw a reflection of his own trapped spirit. He saw a creature that had been hurt by the world, whose Tezad. He couldn't bear to see her confined, another soul imprisoned against its will. One moonlit night, with a heavy heart, he made a decision. He would set her free. He walked to the pen, the metal latch cold under his hand. He leaned close, his voice a barely audible whisper against the vast silence of the plains. "If you don't want to be trapped," he said, his words catching in his throat, "I'll open the world for you. You deserve to be free." He unclipped the heavy chain from her halter, the sound of the metal link falling to the ground, echoing in the quiet night. Then he swung the gate wide open, creating a clear path to the endless fields beyond. The wild was calling. Freedom was just a few steps away, but Astra, she didn't move. She didn't bolt. She didn't even lift her head to look at the open gate, the path to the wilderness she once called home. She just stood there, perfectly still. She turned her head slightly and looked directly at Evan. Her gaze wasn't one of fear anymore. It was a gaze of quiet understanding, a profound and silent question. It was as if she was saying, "Why would I run? Why would I leave the only place where kindness has ever touched me? This is my home now." In that moment, the walls Evan had built around his heart crumbled completely. He fell to his knees in the dirt, the rough ground meeting his worn-out jeans, and he wept. He cried for the horse, for himself, for the unexpected, undeserved trust he had just been given. He was a stranger, a broken man, yet this wounded creature had chosen him. In her stillness, he found an anchor. He wasn't just her rescuer, she was his. A broken soul, yet trusted. A lonely man, yet chosen. From that night on, everything changed. Their healing became a shared journey, a silent pact between two wounded souls. Every day, Evan would walk the fields, his heavy boots tracing paths in the tall grass. And every day, Astra followed, her steps soft and quiet behind him, a loyal shadow. She never needed a rope or a halter again. She was free, but she chose to stay. With her by his side, the world began to feel different. The silence was no longer empty. It was filled with a peaceful companionship. And for the first time since the war, Evan began to breathe again. Truly breathe, filling his lungs with the clean Wyoming air without the weight of the past crushing him. He started to sleep through the night. Sometimes, he even found himself smiling. One scorching hot summer, disaster struck. A wildfire, sparked by a lightning strike miles away, roared across the dry plains. The sky turned a terrifying orange, and thick, choking smoke filled the air. The panicked calls of fleeing animals echoed through the valley. Evan was helping his neighbors secure their homes when he heard a frantic shout. A child, a little boy, had gotten separated from his family and was trapped near a fallen, burning fence. Panic seized Evan's heart. The smoke was too thick. The flames were moving too fast. Before Evan could even react, he saw a flash of movement. It was Astra. Without a moment's hesitation, she charged directly into the blinding smoke, her powerful body moving with a purpose Evan had never seen before. She found the terrified boy, cowering by the fence. With incredible instinct, she positioned herself between the child and the advancing flames, shielding him with her own body as embers rained down around them. She stood her ground, a fearless guardian, until Evan, his face covered in soot, could reach them and pull the boy to safety. That day, standing amidst the chaos and the smoke, with Astra standing calmly beside him, Evan realized a profound truth. Sometimes, the most wounded beings, the ones who have known the most pain and fear, are the first to risk everything for others. They understand what it means to be saved, and they don't hesitate to offer that same salvation to someone else. Astra, the horse he had rescued, had in turn rescued a life, and in doing so, she had rescued him all over again. Her act of bravery was a powerful lesson. Kindness, once given, is never truly lost. It finds its way back, often when you least expect it, and in the most beautiful, unexpected ways. Evan gave Astra a safe place, and she gave him back his soul. This story leaves us with a question to ponder. When someone chooses to stay with us, despite having every reason to leave, when they choose to stand by our side through our darkest moments, do we truly appreciate them enough? Let us always cherish the ones who choose to stay. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that celebrates the incredible bond between humans and animals.